and welcome to math class. Today we're going to be solving two-step inequalities, but not only solving two-step inequalities, but graphing them on the number line. So let's get started. Our first problem is 5 plus 14d is less than or equal to negative 9. We talked about solving inequalities just like we solve equations. So we're going to draw a line down the symbol. Here we have 5 plus 14d. This 5 is positive. So the inverse of a positive number is a negative number. So the opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. We're going to cancel out the inverse. Bring down 14d is less than or equal to, and remember, you can use your calculator for this step if you need to. Negative 9 minus 5 is a negative 14. In order to isolate the variable, because this is saying 14 times d, the inverse of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide both sides by 14. We're going to cancel out the inverse, bring down d, which is less than or equal to, and 14 goes into a negative 14, negative 1. This is our answer. But let's go ahead and graph that on the number line. We know that we're going to plot a point at negative 1 because that's our answer. But what should we use, a closed circle or open circle? Well, because it's equal to, we're going to use a closed circle on negative 1. And this says d is less than. Less than means shade left, less left. So we're going to shade our number line to the left, showing that our solution is less than negative 1. Here's our second problem. Negative 7 is greater than or equal to 17 plus 12q. Our first step is to draw our line down, our symbol, and we look over here on the side with the variable. This says 17 plus 12 times q. Since this 17 is a positive number, we're going to do the inverse and subtract 17 from both sides. Negative 7 minus 17. You can use your calculator for that step, but negative 7 minus 17 is a negative 24, which is greater than or equal to, we cross out the inverse and bring down 12q. 12 times q. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12. This says negative 24 divided by 12 is 2, which is going to be the negative 2, which is greater than or equal to q. So my answer here is negative 2 is greater than or equal to q. So the number we want to plot a point on is negative 2. Do we use an open circle or a closed circle? Well, because it's equal to, we're going to use a closed circle. Now this looks a little tricky because it seemed to be backwards, but always start with the variable. We're going to say q is less than negative 2. It's just written backwards. If you notice, the q is now on the right. But read it from the variable. Q is less than negative 2, and we said less is left. So we're going to shade our line to the left to let our readers know that the solution to this inequality are all numbers less than negative 2. This is our lesson for today. Rewind the video as much as possible if you need to review this lesson. Be sure to call me or any other of your classmates to get some help. And remember, never stop learning.